Welcome to The Car Guy with your host, Klaus Kindor. Currently, Klaus owns Classic Car Holdings, LLC here in Spokane, a boutique dealer specializing in vintage, collectible, and contemporary automobiles. The Car Guy is sponsored in part by European Auto House and Can-Am Body Shop. Here's Klaus.
Good morning, welcome to The Car Guy. I'm your host, Klaus Kindor. We're going to do something a little bit different today. We're going to start introducing some of the cars, some of the very cool cars that are here in the Inland Northwest. And today I've got my friend Larry Chmura with me. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning, Klaus.
How are you?
I'm terrific.
Excellent. And we're going to take a look at Larry's 1960 Porsche 356B Roadster. Now what's interesting about these cars, in 1960 Porsche built approximately 1,500 of these automobiles. That's it. Larry's got one. But this one is a little bit more unique. Larry, how long have you had the car?
Since the mid-'70s.
Since the mid-'70s.
Yeah.
Tell us what's different about this car than any of the 356B out there.
Well, it comes from the factory with 60 horsepower, and I tickled it a little bit, and now it's got 260.
Tickled it a little bit. How did you tickle it?
Put an extra 2 cylinders on it.
So instead of a 1600cc 4-cylinder motor, we have a
2.8 liter 911 6-cylinder.
Stuffed in a 356 Roadster.
It's not stuffed. It fits really nice.
I have unfortunately had the good fortune to be able to drive this car. It is really, really something. And I'm looking forward to doing it again today. Did you want tires left on it today?
It's got plenty of good rubber.
Okay,
no
cool.
problem.
Cool. So, as far as we know, I got to think you're the first guy that's ever put a 911 motor into a 356.
That's what I'm told. It's been in there a long time, but nobody else was able to make it work. There were a few little tricks from my past work things that I found being a machinist for a while.
And you were a racer back in the IMSA days, back in the late 70s, early 80s, right?
Yes.
Okay. So some of that knowledge also came along with how to put this together with some
Absolutely.
help. With some help, I would think.
Yeah, my best friend Brent Regan, he's pretty savvy. He was my co-driver also, so together we terrorized people with no money. I mean, we didn't have any money. They had the money.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. So how did you shoehorn this 911 motor into this 356? What kind of engineering was required in order to make that work?
Well, everybody said it wouldn't work because the 911 engine is much heavier than a 356 motor. So I shortened the transmission about 1.5 inches and lengthened the wheelbase about 1.5 inches and changed the CG about 3 inches. And it weight balanced way better than it did originally.
Yeah. When I drove the car last month for the first time, it only took me 8 years to finally get you to let me drive the car. And I don't blame you. But I was surprised at how well balanced the car is. It really is quite something to drive.
And it's got a little bit bigger wheels and better brakes and sway bars and stuff that it didn't come with. So it's engineered pretty well.
Yeah, I noticed that. We've got the Fuchs alloys on it, of course. Those are Porsche Fuchs alloy wheels, and we've got disc brakes all the way around, which the B Roadster never did come with. They all came with drum brakes.
Correct.
In fact, Porsche didn't install disc brakes until 1964 on the 356, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, you're correct.
It's just a hell of a car. If you look at it carefully, folks, if you look at this car really carefully, there's some subtle things that you see, like the rear quarters being flared just a bit, but you really wouldn't think that it's the monster that it is. And in just a couple of minutes, we're going to fire this bad boy up and take it for a drive, and I'm going to have fun. You know, what amazes me about the car is how good it feels, even with the additional weight in the back of it. It's really extraordinary. First of all, I got to thank you for driving what is, in my opinion, one of the funnest cars I've ever been in.
Well, you're quite welcome.
It's really it's really quite a piece of equipment. You and I have both had the good fortune to have raced for years and driven some really cool cars, but this thing may just go missing one day. I understand you had some hill climb experience with this car too.
Yeah, a couple of years ago I went down to Boise to the Bogus Basin hill climb, and there were a lot of cars, and we were working my buddy, who at the time owned the blue car that's in the background. He was on the corner with me working the corner while the other cars in the front group went up the mountain, and there was some guy in a turbo Porsche that had fastest time of the day. You get 3 runs, and his fastest run was 2:03.7. And in the afternoon we ran, and my first run up the mountain was a 2:04. And it's an old car, you got to give it a little bit.
And you're running against a modern 930 turbo.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the next run up we ran 2:03.8, 1/10 slower than him. And I was telling Wayne, my buddy, I said, well, if I don't screw up, I got him. And he says, great. So in the meantime, I was coaching him and everything, because the blue car is all set up also. So I go up the hill and I turn 2:03.0. Wayne comes up the hill and he turns a 2:03.6. This guy that's touting all over how great he is
We've
is
heard that
now
before.
in 3rd place. And he gets PO'd, and he's putting all his stuff in the truck and the car, and he's leaving. He's not staying for trophies or anything. Well, about 6 weeks later, we had a driver's school up here at Airway Heights, and he shows up for the driver's school. And obviously he knows who I am, so he comes up to me and he's looking around, and he says, well, where's your car? And I said, oh, I heard you were coming. I didn't want to embarrass you again. And he was okay after that. He said, I got a little carried away, but that was a fun.
I'm sure. And I'll tell you, we just had, I don't know if you got it on camera when we blew by you on the freeway, but I'll tell you what, you get this thing going at 7,000 RPM or so, and it's moving right along. I'm stoked to have been able to drive it now for a second time. I hope I get an opportunity to drive it again someday. But this has been great. Folks, we'd love to do more of these segments where we get to take a look at some of the more interesting cars here in the Inland Northwest. If you've got something really cool you'd like us to spend a little time with me, do a show, and we'd love to hear from you. Tell us what you've got, and we'd love to come out and spend some time with you. We got to thank our sponsors. Got to thank the guys at European Auto House, and of course the guys at Can-Am Body Shop. This has been great, and I look forward to doing it again. I hope you folks enjoyed the show, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for watching. The Car Guy is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksMedia.com, which is solely responsible for its content. The Car Guy is sponsored in part by European Auto House and Can-Am Body Shop. Ask Klaus a question, recommend a guest, or hear this program again on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SpokaneTalksMedia.com.